to our three pack. So, talk about after the close. And we've talked about this in the past, and we have a couple classes coming up later on this week. So I thought I would just talk about this through a three pack. Encourage everybody to think about attending our classes coming up this Thursday, because Todd, I feel like when I examine agents' businesses, and I examine my past business style and philosophies and so forth, the money's left on the table after the close, because for me, that's where all the money is to be made. We all remember our first time. You call up your buyer 12 months later to only find out they sold and moved, and you know that pain never goes away. And I remember the first time that happened to me, and I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen to me. And we our goal as agents is to build a referral-based business. And if we want to truly build a referral-based business, all of that takes place after the close. So we're going to go through it. Tip number one is develop a multiple touch system. Don't ever assume, no matter how great your customer service is, or how great how you think your customer service is and how great you think it is, don't assume that your clients are going to remember you when it comes time to transact again in the future, or when they're talking with someone who's looking to buy and sell. Don't assume that you're going to be top of mind and that they're just going to remember you. You have to stay top of mind. So you have to determine, and you come up with your own system, but determine how often and how you will connect throughout the first 12 months. For us, and that's what we'll talk about on Thursday, is we have a 23 touch system. I know after I hand someone the keys, my system is going to touch them at least 23 times over the next 12 months. And then when you do thinking about sending them stuff of value, I'm always trying to send them stuff of value. I'm not saying it's wrong and saying it's bad or anything like that. I'm not a big newsletter guy. Those newsletters come, especially upcoming events. I can't read them. The print's so small and so forth. So I put myself into my client's shoes and ask, what is something that they would want, something that I would want, something that is of value?
Yeah, totally. And I think we should start off, Mike, taking your introduction to this segment today. The ultimate objective here is the fact that, yes, that consumer is probably not going to sell and repurchase another home for the typical trade cycle of 5 to 8 years. I get that. However, the average person, statistically, the average person in your database is going to come in contact with 5 people a year that are ready, willing, and able to purchase a home. The question is, what do I have to do to position myself to have that consumer refer that business to me? And so, there is an algorithm. Keith probably more than likely teaches it in all of his social media classes. You'll probably bring it up. Certainly, we're talking about the touch point system. But again, it's just one of those things that, we should be sending 80% lifestyle messages after the close and 20% real estate messages, because during the purchase, what's their primal objective? Buying or selling a house. It should be the opposite. 80% about buying a house, 20% about not. But after the purchase, you've got to engage them. You have to romanticize them. You have to talk about hobbies and interests and things of that nature, and that's where you're going to get repeat business. Follow the Brian Buffini, Michael Mayer approach, and you should do well.
All right. Second is create closing events. I am not a closing gift guy. It has been years and years and years since I've ever sent a client an actual closing gift, because a closing gift, so what? It's got my name on it, maybe it's brand on it and so forth. Doesn't really help me, and it doesn't really generate business. So I like to create closing gift events that are going to truly generate more business, such as housewarming parties. I'm a huge fan of housewarming parties, because now I have an opportunity to communicate, meet with, and chat with their closest family and friends. But it goes even deeper than that. One, you have to figure out, if you're going to do housewarming parties, what is it that you're going to provide? You have to generate that system so it just happens. Develop a system to collect data on each attendee. Just inviting them and not collecting names, phone numbers, and emails ahead of time and if all you're doing is, hey, welcome to the housewarming party, here's some food and here's my business card, you're not going to have a way to follow up with them. So you want to develop a specific system in which to do that. And then you develop a system on how you're going to build relationships with them. We start the relationship building process with each attendee prior to the housewarming party. And then that way, when they all show up, we're not strangers anymore. And then there's that continued system of how do you follow up and so forth.
Mike, for decades, you and I have been talking about client parties, housewarming parties specifically, and the value. Stop sending. First of all, hold your money accountable. Stop sending things that don't matter. If you're going to do anything, you have to review what the success pattern of whatever it is you were doing is, what's happening, what are the results. But to that particular point, I think we all know that rather than buying leads and doing some of these other things, we really should be putting that money into our database. And if we're doing that correctly, it starts at the home warming party. Because at that particular point, you have that conversation with their clients ahead of time. You send out these really lavish looking invitations. You don't send out pieces of crap. You take the time and do it right, because if you're going to send out something nice, the consumer, the seller, is the new owner, is much more willing to give you the names and addresses of the people that are their dear friends. But if you're just going to send some regular, slapstick invitation, they're probably going to be a little less likely to want to give you all that personal information.
Yeah, and we use a system out there that we just upload all the information, sends out the invites, and tracks it for us. And we know who's coming, who's not. They can communicate with us and so forth. And then the third thing is we talk about the 23-touch system, but you want to automate as much as possible. It can't all be automated. There has to be some personal touch. But it's imperative, going back to, for those of you that are using Wise Agent or aren't using a CRM system, you have to have, if you don't have a CRM system, don't throw a party. Don't ask for people's names, phone numbers, and email addresses, because it's not going to do you any good, because you're not going to do anything with it.
That's right.
But leverage your CRM, especially when you're setting up your multiple touch system or you're meeting people at this closing event. Take as many notes about all conversations and set up task reminders. If I'm going to touch you X amount of times over the next 12 months, how am I going to remember on next Tuesday, it's time now for me to reach out to the Menards? Well, that is what your CRM system does, and Wise Agent will show you how to do it. And then leverage the MLS and leverage your iFound Agent website's automated features. For us, this is what I love. I hand you the keys to your house. That's what I love about the iFound Agent website. We call them on our team Recon Neighborhood Reports, because we throw that name in front of everything. And so every month, our clients get an email from our website saying this is all the recent activity in the last 30 days in your neighborhood. And what's iFound Agents, it's even better than that. And you can set up so anytime there's a new listing or a new closing, you can do it. They'll get alerted as well. You can do that in the MLS as well. Most agents just use the MLS to help buyers, but with the iFound Agent website, the minute that they click that button, they're now on your website and they're living on your website, and it gets them away from the Zillows and the Realtor.coms and the Redfins.
I was just going to say that you become the Zillow.
Yeah.
And that's really what your objective is. You're the site of choice when it comes to finding out about what's going on in your market and your neighborhood. And again, just to recap the value of staying in communication with your people, if there's a cost to every new consumer that you have, and you're either buying it or it's happening organically. And the benefit of CRMs and the benefit of post-closing relationships is the organic part.
Yeah, new client acquisition costs are so much higher than the referrals, and that's why we're after referrals. But we all know that we're here to build a referral-based business, but many of us, because we don't have a system for it. So, all right. So with that, as a reminder, so this Thursday we are doing a series of these classes. We're going to go through specifically what we do. and you could modify it. We're going to give you some great tips and some great resources, and just let you know how we do it on our end. I have yet to do a housewarming party where I haven't walked away with 1 to 2 clients, and we're going to just go through the whole system. So it's coming up this Thursday, 10 o'clock at the Chandler office, and at 1:30 same afternoon up here at the North Phoenix office. Again, doesn't matter what office you're out of, you can attend. And there is the website to well, don't click on it, but just write down that website and get registered, and hope we'll see everybody there.